In the months leading up to the COVID-19 pandemic, U.S. oil production hit an all-time high of just below 13 million barrels per day, BPD. As the pandemic unfolded, demand collapsed, and production followed. By May 2020, oil production had dropped by more than 3 million BPD to 9.7 million BPD. Since then, demand has recovered to pre-pandemic levels. Oil production, however, has only partially recovered. The most recent data available from the Energy Information Administration, EIA, shows current U.S. oil production at 11.6 million BPD, still 1.4 million BPD short of pre-pandemic production. This shortfall is a major factor that led to the run-up of oil and gasoline prices over the past year. When the pandemic crushed oil demand in 2020, some oil companies went out of business. Some small stripper wells, which accounts for a respectable amount of U.S. oil production, were permanently capped given the bleak outlook. Some workers left the oil industry. Now, with oil prices over $100/barrel, many are questioning why production hasn't bounced all the way back. The Biden administration has pointed fingers at the oil industry, stating they have stockpiled 9,000 permits they aren't using. The oil industry says that the problem, in part, is hostile policies of the Biden administration. Setting politics aside, here is what we know. The part about the oil industry stockpiling permits, mostly ahead of President Biden taking office, is true. I have reported on this before. However, that doesn't mean they are sitting on them. Obtaining a permit is just one step in the chain that ultimately results in oil production. There are many other links in that chain, some of which are still problematic today. Further, they can't just sit on the permits. There is generally a use it or lose it provision that requires them to give up a permit if they don't develop the lease over a specified period. Thus, we have oil production that can't bounce back quickly because some has been shut in, and new production that can't proceed as quickly due to manpower and material shortages, e.g., fracking sand. It's not simply that oil companies are sitting on permits. They are working through them. The number of rigs drilling for oil and gas has risen by 60% over the past year. But it can take years for a permit to translate into oil production, if the location even yields oil. But why did they stockpile so many permits? Stacey Morris, who is Director of Research for Midstream Index and data provider Illyrian, elaborated on these issues when I reached out to her for comment. The president mentioned thousands of permits on federal lands. The permit number is inflated from stockpiling. Companies stockpiled permits on federal lands leading up to the president's inauguration, because several Democratic candidates, including the president, supported banning new drilling permits on federal lands.